Big Sills! I am going to throw flowers at Jalen Hurts today. I know. I'm going to throw flowers at him. I was just talking to Tone. By the way, before we get going here, I want everyone to know that you get an opportunity this week to win yourself some Hooters gift certificates. We throw a code word out throughout the program. All we need is you to email us, and you could be a winner like Mark and Andy here. And they were our winners from last week's drawing. You get some opportunities to work and get yourself work into a position where you get your name called this coming Monday, and you might win yourself some Hooters gift certificates and some merchandise. All you have to do is email the show, dansileo@gmail.com, for you to get yourself in line for that. We'll announce the winners on Monday. So we look forward to that. By the way, Boomer Esiason at the bottom of this hour. WFAN and also CBS morning host in New York City. I'm going to throw some love here at Jalen. You know, I was reading some of the quotes by Justin Fields. You know, if you want to go back to the summertime, too, with Kyler Murray talking about, you know, Jonathan Gannon, the coaches and all of us have to look at one another. If things aren't going well, I'm going to say something. You know, Jalen Hurts has been prepared better than any of these young quarterbacks who went in the first round. I think that first round tag sometimes hurts some of these guys. You know why? Because if you're a first-round draft choice, it's almost like an entitlement to have things go your way and have everything handed to you. People like Dak and Jalen, who had to actually fight up the ranks to be a quarterback in the NFL, they weren't expected. If you're not drafted in the first round, you're expected to be a backup. Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott were not drafted to be starters. They were drafted as safety belts. So they've actually had to work at being a starter in this league. You hear Justin Fields talking shit on his coaches. You know why? Has a little adversity in his life, and he's looking to blame someone else. When Jalen Hurts was at Alabama and had that job taken from him, he didn't complain. He was a great teammate. He wanted to graduate from Alabama. He wanted to continue and stay there until he got through the year. Then he transferred. That guy is so mature. And it's why you have faith in him. He's going to figure it out. He is so mature. You listen to Kyler Murray or Justin Fields make excuses why they suck. You were brought in. You were brought into your organization as a first-round guy for a reason, to change the culture, to change the entire culture around, not have everything handed to you. That's what you were brought in for. You were brought in for that. It's more than just playing the quarterback position here. Okay? It's more than that. It's about being a leader. You know, Tone said something to me about a year ago, and he's dead on. You know, the intangibles. Hey, well, welcome to the NFL. You know, you're supposed to have those intangibles. He's right. The more and more I see these young players today, the less I see of those intangibles. I'm telling you, man. Justin Fields, I don't want to go to battle with that guy. Kyler Murray, I don't want to go to battle with that guy. And get this, some of these guys may be more talented than Hurts, like they were with Brady. A lot of guys were drafted ahead of Tom Brady. A lot of guys have more talent than Tom Brady. Just something about Brady, though, that wins. Dude, I'm telling you. You know, these other guys' actions, I think they enlighten everyone in how you look at Hurts. Hey, Jalen's not making excuses for his play. He's 24th in quarterback rating. right now in the NFL. He's got to play better. Everyone knows that. But there's no excuses going on at the NovaCare Center. Nobody's making excuses. We got to play better. He's 24th in quarterback rating. I don't hear him complaining about the coaches or Brian Johnson. They're not complaining. Damn, dog. You got to show some more. I mean, you talk about a lack of insecurity. Right? It's like a lack of insecurity, man. Steve, Jalen's a class act. He's not going to throw his teammates or his coaches under the bus. He's just not. I don't believe you'll. You know what's funny? I've never heard Tom Brady throw a player or a coach under a bus in his entire career. I've heard Rodgers. I've heard Favre. I've heard so many quarterbacks in the NFL throw coaches under buses. I've never heard Tom Brady throw anybody, any coach under a bus ever. I've never heard him even talk shit on a player. He's been, Brady, one of his greatest assets is what I think Jalen has as one of his greatest assets. You know what that is? These guys are great teammates. You know what, Tone, everyone? I think that's an intangible that people don't give enough credit to. Brady's greatest asset, besides his hard work and all the things we talk about, is that he's one of the greatest NFL teammates of all time. And I think that's what Hurts is taken from him. Hey, I'm going to study, and I'm going to be a great teammate. And that means to my coaches, to my fans, to my owner, to everyone in the organization. And if I don't like something, I'm going to bite the bit on it. I think that is a strength. Because even when, you know how easy it is to blame others when shit's going sideways in your life? We do this all the time. It's human nature. You want to blame someone. The great ones don't. You ever notice that? They don't blame anybody but themselves. If you get a big win, we were great. You know what's crazy? What the media does is, if a guy gets a win, they'll give it to Mahomes. If a guy gets a loss, it's the team around him. But the great ones do this. Man, we played really great as a team today. We were spectacular. And if they lose, man, it cost us the game. And, when you're a guy in that locker room that doesn't get a lot of publicity and you're going out there doing all the dirty work, I think that's an intangible. That pisses me off about Justin Fields. Dude, they made you a first-round pick. They brought you into Chicago, albeit the coaching staff and the organization's a train wreck. I get it. O-line blows, defensive personnel. They should have drafted Jalen Carter. I completely get it all. But don't lower yourself into being in that kind of sewer because everyone else around you's in the sewer. You're supposed to rise up, man. Enough with the stupid lecture here. When I see guys like that doing that, he's a total failure in Chicago. He is. And I actually have people in Chicago saying this to defend him. You want to hear this one? If Justin Fields was in Philadelphia, he'd be doing what Hurts is doing. That's what half the fan base thinks. The franchise quarterback's underrated responsibility is to be a stabilizer, especially during times of chaos. A franchise quarterback can't fold in times of crisis. You don't get a gauge on a guy's character when things are going great. You get a gauge on a guy's character when shit's hit the fan. That's when you do. Can you believe that, man? People actually think there's a half of a fan base that believes that Justin Fields, if he was in Philadelphia, would be doing the things that Hurts does. I don't believe that. I don't think he has a character to win. That guy does not have character. He does not have character. There's no character in Chicago at the quarterback position. Same in Arizona. There's no character there. Real quick here, before we get into the topics, Buccaneers, I want to look at them. Boomer Esiason, bottom of the hour here on the show. I'm going to tell you something on what Deion Sanders is now doing to the draft and the NFL draft. How do you guys think that Deion Sanders is going to change the NFL draft with what he's doing at Colorado? How do you think the draft may be changed forever now? May be changed forever. How do you think Deion Sanders is changing the NFL draft? Curious if you see it how I see it here. How do you think Deion's going to change the draft here? Curious. I think they're going to change. I think guys like him are going to change the draft forever. Player branding will tick up a notch. Top schools won't have as many draft picks. Let me bring this to your attention here. So if I'm Shedeur Sanders or Caleb Williams, and the shitty Arizona Cardinals are going to draft me, and I'm going to sign in this offseason, if I'm Shedeur, a $10 million nil deal. Do you know what the average rookie quarterback makes in the NFL? He makes $7 million. I think if you're the top pick, it's 41 guaranteed. If you're Shedeur Sanders or you're Caleb Williams or you're Michael Penix and you're starting to make nil is now going to keep most of these top flight quarterbacks from going and being Justin Fields. Why do I have to go and play in Chicago for that shitty organization when I can go back to Colorado, make the same money? My value still increases. Greater chance to win a national title. Make more money. Shedeur Sanders is driving around a Rolls-Royce SUV. Why would he want to go and play in Arizona when he's going to make even more money this coming off season? That's going to change the draft. Because all these teams that used to tank, that's not a given anymore. Caleb Williams' father saying that he may go back to USC, I believe it now. You know why? He's making $8.5, $9 million now. He's making more money at USC than he would make at Arizona. Why would I leave Southern Cal? Why would I leave Southern Cal? If I'm Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter's got to come back because he had a transfer and he's got one more year. He's got to stay. He can't go anywhere. If I'm Shedeur, I'm going to – by the way, Colorado is as bad as it will be right now. You wait till that transfer portal this coming off season. You wait till people are calling Colorado wanting to play there now. Recruits are calling them. 5-star kids. They're going to be a national power if Deion stays there another 3 years. Why would I leave? I wouldn't leave. If I was making $2.5, $3 million as a defensive tackle at the University of Miami, why in the world would I leave? I'd come back and make another $3 million. So you're telling me I get to go to the NFL already having $7 million in my pocket as a defensive tackle because I played with Shedeur Sanders at Colorado? This nil program might actually save what's left of the stupid NC2A. You know, with all this changing of conferences and teams leaving and doing this, I'll tell you something here, man. This has been one of the most exciting college football seasons I've ever seen. Because you know why? It's not Alabama. Nil has pushed the old guard out. Clemson and Alabama, it's no more regionalized. Hey, maybe Colorado can get to a New Year's Day bowl game. Hey, Maybe Florida State can win the national title. Hey, maybe USC. What it's done is it's not regionalized the sport anymore. People, 9.3 million people watched a 2 a.m. football conclusion on an overtime game between Colorado State, I think they're called the Rams, and the Buffaloes. 9.3. I played in the most watched game in the history of college football, 25.2 rating. Okay, those are NFL numbers. But it was a national title game, and they moved the game to January 2nd. It was the first of its kind. It was really the first national championship game made, was what we did between Penn State and us. We made that playoff. It was our two programs because they saw the number you could get. It was 25.2. No social media, no streaming, nothing. It was just network TV. Shit, man, that thing would have been a 40 share if we played it today. It'd have been a 40 share. And kids get money from that now. They get money from TV. They get money from attendance. Dude, if you're an NFL owner too, how are you not looking at what this guy is doing? You're front and center. He is a national story now. It's really unbelievably impressive. I just absolutely love what they're doing, man. All right. Boomer Esiason, bottom of the hour. Get his thoughts on Hurts and what the Jets are going to do. Want to hear his comments there. That'll be at the bottom of the hour. All right. I want to throw this at you here before we get Boomer on. If this football team, the Eagles, do not make it to the Super Bowl, is this a Howie Roseman failure, or will this be a coaching failure? Because right now, he hasn't replaced the defense. And what most people are doing now is they're glossing over the lack of talent on the defensive side of the football because Carter's so great. But you're weak at almost every other position on your defense. That's Howie Roseman's responsibility to retool the team. I told you that this team would never be the same. I thought with some of the moves that he made that he had limited the damage. He has not limited the damage. He has not limited the damage. Okay? He has not. He's not limited the damage. And you're in the weaker part of your schedule now. Now, just like when we had Barrett on yesterday, some of you keep going out here and saying, hey, well, we're 2-0. That's irrelevant. Now, I'd rather be 2-0 than 0-2 for sure. But that team's not going to win an NFC East right now the way it's playing. You're not. You'll get bounced in the opening round the way you're playing. Now, Sills, do you think that the Eagles are going to play like this here in September and January? No. Well, depends. It depends. You're not deep. You're really not deep at any position except for defensive tackle on that football team. You have one injury to an edge rusher, and you have really no edge rushers. Hassan Reddick, he got hurt. You've had limited pressure from the edges. I thought Josh Sweat played a little better last week, but you've had limited exposure on getting to the quarterback from your outside edge rushers. That's why they're bringing a boatload of them in. Your linebacking core has been completely invisible. And Nakobe Dean, prior to him being out, he sucked. He wasn't playing well, even in the limited action that he did have. Your safety position is a chaotic mess. And now with Avonte Maddox being out, where are you going? Dude, Dude, they're bringing guys' names in I've never heard of. Okay? As great of a success that Howie Roseman had last year, I don't see it. Now, you look on the offensive side, everyone's using the excuse, well, they're rusty. How can you be rusty with all those talented players? You got Pro Bowlers at every position. How can you be rusty? Because you didn't what? Practice? So wait a minute. Last year you didn't practice, and you got out to a great start, and you look great. This year you got out, and your quarterback is 24th in QBR. I mean, there's only 32 quarterbacks, which means he's not efficient. That's what that metric is. Now, I don't hang my hat on that and go like this, like PFF does. I don't hang my hat on that and go, whoa, quarterback rating. I don't do that, because numbers can lie to you sometimes, as can records. Okay? We're coming up with every angle of an excuse here on why this football team is limping out of the gate. Can it be talent? Why are you so, not willing to admit it? We're not talented at defense. We're good at, get this, we're good today against the run. I still think that passing number is going to come down. I think those corners, and hey, by the way, remember I told you in the offseason, I think Darius Slay is on his last leg. And I think those corners, everyone knows now they play center field, and they're throwing underneath them. That's why they're getting big. Dude, nobody quarterbacks are getting big numbers on you. They figured it out. It's a plug-and-play kind of deal. Okay? So is this Roseman's responsibility? How would you give, and what would you look at? And again, I think we got to wait to the end of the year, and I'm with you on that. We got to wait to the end of the year. Okay? But Howie right now, I think he's in scramble mode. And how many teams are going to be willing? Hey, I thought the Buccaneers were going to be in a selling frenzy. Shit, you look at the Buccaneers, and if you really look at them, I think the Bucs have a top 5 defense. The Eagles better be prepared Monday night. That's the best defense they'll play so far this year. That could be the best defense next to the Cowboys and Niners that they'll play all year. And you're taking on 3 guys in a row that know what they're doing defensively. Todd Bowles, Brian Flores, and Bill Belichick. Those 3 guys are great defensive-minded guys. If you think your defense is as good as that Buccaneer defense, you're about 17th. That's like 5th. And by the way, you don't have a defensive tackle better than Vita Vea right now. Carter may be that. I know who that guy is. That guy's playing great ball. Ask Jason Kelsey what he thinks of him. He thinks that guy's the most dominant interior defensive tackle when it comes to playing against the run of anybody in the league. I heard him say that. That's not just some dude. That guy is great. Now, I think Carter will be better. This guy is better today. He is a good player. Mike Evans, that guy's knocking on the Hall of Fame door, dude. You don't have a guy on your football team that can cover him. And Baker Mayfield, I'll tell you something about a guy playing with desperation. People that are in a desperation mode, you kind of almost want guys like that on your team because they'll do whatever it takes to win. Baker Mayfield is in desperation career mode. He's been humbled, got fired in Cleveland, got fired in Carolina, the Rams, all of that. This guy was a number 1 pick a couple years ago. Baker Mayfield is playing some pretty damn good ball right now. And that game that you're going to play on Monday night, I wouldn't go to sleep on it because I'll tell you what, Mike Evans, 9 straight years. Do you know there's only one other wide receiver in pro football history that has more 1,000-yard seasons than Mike Evans? You know who that is? It's Jerry Rice. Okay?